Hey guys, welcome back to my podcast, our voice, our choice. This is episode 3. In this episode, we'll be covering the topic discrimination. I have with me again as my guest speaker Joseph Popov. Joseph, welcome back.
Thank you, Alan. It's a pleasure to be back. I've enjoyed talking with you, and I look forward to talking with you more today.
Cool. And just one real quick question. How's the video gaming going?
Video gaming's going okay. I haven't gone back on the Baldur's Gate. I needed a break because it's too story driven and you've got to pay attention so much. So I've just been going into a game that I played about a decade ago. I've just rebought it on the PC. It's called Alpha Protocol. It was an old RPG spy game. And I'm loving it. It's just quick and easy and just fun.
Cool. I honestly don't think I've heard of that game.
So, it wasn't received very well when it came out. There was no sales, poor criticism. However, since then it's gotten better reviews, but unfortunately you can no longer buy it anymore, not even on PC. It's been removed even from PC and PlayStation and all that. You can't buy it anymore.
That's a bugger. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I finally bought the Fate of Atlantis DLC, and my goodness, that is a big DLC. It consists of 3 episodes, and they're long episodes. A lot involved in them. A lot of running around and fighting and collecting stuff and upgrading your armor and weapons and
beautiful.
Jumping straight into it. Joe, what are the different forms of discrimination?
So there's 2 key forms of discrimination. There's direct discrimination and indirect discrimination. Do you want to know the difference between direct and indirect discrimination?
Please tell us.
Direct discrimination occurs when a person receives less favourable treatment as a result of, say, because of their disability or age or gender, that they receive less favourable treatment than, say, somebody who wasn't disabled or somebody who, wasn't elderly or somebody who wasn't indigenous. So you've got to have, it's got to be clear that you've been received less favourable treatment than somebody who didn't have, say, a disability.
Okay, I have to say I did not I did not know that. I feel when when it comes to talking about discrimination is there's a fair bit that I've still got to learn. I think I've kind of always been, I have to say, at very least a bit naive in terms of discrimination.
In what way, naive? Because discrimination is a very difficult topic. That's just only the basics. Like, you've got to go into a lot more. There's a lot more loopholes and a lot more detail. It's just the fundamentals.
One thing I do know is discrimination is a pretty touchy subject.
In what way?
Well, unfortunately, discrimination is, it's everywhere. It's all around us.
Yeah.
It's a lot like, if I may, it's a lot like bullying or racism. It's something that, it should be ancient history. It shouldn't no longer exist, but unfortunately, it still does.
Yeah, it's really frustrating.
And it's not only frustrating, I think, Joe, but I think it can be really hurtful too.
Yeah. Do you have personal experience?
No, not really. I've just been told stories about it happening to other people, and and it made me really fume. I don't like hearing stories of discrimination,
Yeah.
or bullying or racism or violence or
Agreed.
and then there are others that I don't like hearing about, but war, just one quick another one, but war's another one, but so with very similar to a question that I asked you in the last episode.
Yeah.
If it starts off the exact same way, if someone thinks or knows that they have been discriminated against, what are their options to resolve this very ugly problem?
I think before we get to that, I think in the previous question I did mention there was two forms of discrimination.
Sorry, you did too. There was direct and indirect.
And we only touched on direct.
I'm sorry. Let's go back to
So
that.
I was just trying to make a more comprehensive podcast for your audience.
No, cool. I really appreciate that. So let's hear about indirect.
So indirect discrimination occurs when there are systems and structures in place, such as policies and procedures that has a negative effect on people with disabilities, but that policy or procedure must be considered unreasonable. So, for example, it can be considered indirect discrimination if a driver's license is required for a job that does not require you to drive. It's, you know what I mean? Like, if say the job like say, if you only need to drive to get to the job. But it's more in relation if driving is a part of the job and you've been refused the job because you can't drive as a result of your disability, then it can be deemed indirect discrimination.
Right, so for example, say you work in retail, you're working in a shopping centre, you don't need to do any driving there, but the employer says, oh, nah, sorry, we're not going to give you a job because you don't have a driver's licence.
Yeah, that would be indirect discrimination if that also occurred. Yeah, and you also had to have a disability yourself. So yeah, that would be indirect discrimination if you had a disability and, that was the case.
Well, I think that example could affect anyone really, not just someone that has a disability. But,
I agree.
Because I know people that don't have driver's license and yet they're still employed.
Yeah, I agree, but I think the purpose of discrimination law is that you've got to either have a disability, be elderly, or you know what I mean. So there's 4 discrimination laws in Australia. There's the Age Discrimination Act, there's the Race Discrimination Act, there's the Sex Discrimination Act, and there's the Disability Discrimination Act. That's the 4 national laws. There's also state legislation called the Anti-Discrimination Act that prevents discrimination on different areas of laws, but also disability, but it's a different beast. So I think for the purpose of today, I prefer to discuss the national laws because they can apply everywhere. And it's, in a way, there's been more cases on the national laws than there has been on the state laws.
Right. I'd hate to think about how many discrimination claims have been put in. I reckon it's an ugly number.
Yeah. So I have to double check the statistics, but I think I don't remember the statistics on the top of my head, but disability discrimination is one of the highest discrimination complaints in all of the discrimination laws in Australia.
I reckon it could be one of the highest in the world.
I don't know about that. Yeah, there's other places, that probably go through more discrimination, but I don't know.
That's just something I'll have to look into. Well, I do apologise about that because I know discrimination against against genders is a big one. Racial discrimination is another big one.
Yeah.
And I think even like cultural discrimination's another big one as well.
Yeah. Good. Cool.
If we can, Joseph, if we move on to our question number 2.
Yeah.
If someone thinks or knows that they have been discriminated against, Joe, what are their options to resolve this this ugly, unpleasant problem?
So, firstly, you can lodge a complaint to the Australian Human Rights Commission, but I would personally prefer to try and talk to the person doing the discriminating and just see if you can resolve it without going to the Commission. But if you can't resolve it, you go to the Human Rights Commission. Their focus is on resolving the dispute, so there's no obligation for. It's like the Fair Rep Commission in that, its focus is on resolving the dispute by coming to an agreement. And if the agreement can't be agreed, you've got to go to the court system again. So it's like you've got Australian Human Rights Commission to facilitate, to try and facilitate an agreement between the person doing the discriminating and the person being discriminated against. And if that doesn't work, then it goes to the court.
Right. So again, we're back at resorting to going down that unpleasant path. If you can't resolve it in house with a person, whether that be a co-worker or employer, then you have to go up the chain.
Yeah. Now the Australian Human Rights Commission and the Fair Rep Commission, they're more informal. So it's more the court system that's the formal aspect. So the Australian Human Rights Commission is seen as the bridge between trying to resolve the disputes internally in the court system.
What about what have you been discriminated against, or I'll use the words taken advantage of by if you are someone with a disability, you've been taken advantage of by a support worker. Would you? I bet again you could probably resolve it in house, but I think would the next step be if it wasn't resolved there, that you would take it to the NDIA?
Yeah, but that's different to discrimination. So you wouldn't take it to the NDIA, but you take it to the Quality and Safeguards Commission.
Sorry, yes.
No, but you take it to the organisation first, and then if that doesn't get resolved, then you'd go to the Quality and Safeguards Commission.
Yeah, right. So not the NDIA. I don't know why I said the NDIA. I was just naively thinking of them because they're the ones that I guess that they run the show there when it comes to disability support providers and support workers.
I tend to disagree. I think the NDIS, it's more the Quality and Safeguards Commission that runs the show in terms of that.
So they're
separate to the NDIS. That's another topic. You'll have to get other people involved in.
I have to say I'm yeah, I'm not a fan of talking about the NDIA.
All good.
Yeah, I think it's not great, but anyway, and
All good.
so again, everyone, it's the sorry, I'll get it out in a minute. It's this Safeguards Commission. Is that right, Joseph?
NDIS Quality and Safeguard Commission that you deal with NDIS.
Sorry, the Quality and Safeguards Commission that you go to if you've been discriminated against.
No, not if you're discriminated against. You go to the Australian Human Rights Commission if you've been discriminated against. It's more NDIS, Quality and Safeguards Commission, if you've been taken advantage of.
Sorry, taken advantage of.
Within the NDIS.
Within the NDIS, yes, within the NDIS.
Okay, see, look, there's I'm learning stuff.
Two different.
Yeah, and as again, I apologise, everyone. I've been a bit naive, so I've got a fair bit to learn. Thank you greatly for that, Joseph.
Everyone's got things to learn.
Absolutely. Again, sorry, not again, but you've answered my third question, which was, what does someone do if they haven't got the desired outcome?
Yeah, so you sort of take it up the hierarchy.
Yeah, you go up the chain of command, as they say.
Yeah, and then I think, so the second and third questions are very similar in that, what you can do and the desired outcome, you just go up the chain until you get to the High Court, and then the High Court, it's no from there. I think you can only be compensated against, or there may be requirements for organisations, businesses to do something, but there's no enforcement aspect. So they can't really enforce you to do stuff unless you go to the court system. Yeah. I think that's pretty much.
I think before we get into our fun little fun checkout question, and if you don't mind me asking this question, it's perfectly fine if you don't want to answer it, but have you ever been discriminated against?
I was trying to think. There's been situations in which I could, have met the definition of indirect or direct discrimination, but then I know that there is an exception in discrimination law called unjustifiable hardship, in which it is lawful to discriminate if it creates an unjustifiable hardship to correct the discriminatory action or behaviour. So I know for me, like in terms of physical access, in theory I've been discriminated against, but I acknowledge that there is an unjustifiable hardship to correct that. So in some cases, yes, but there's loopholes with everything. So probably yes, but no. In theory, yes, but in reality, no.
Okay. Me personally, I don't think I've ever been discriminated against. I've kind of been, I have to say I'm very lucky there.
I'm glad to hear.
I've always been pretty careful of who I get involved with, whether it's whether it's a company or an organisation or or even when it comes to sports, for example, what sporting teams I've joined.
Yeah.
Sorry, Alan. It's Jared in the background. I'm just wondering, Alan, has anybody, well, when you were growing up, or as a kid, did anyone call you names or pick on you?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, that's a good question.
That would be a problem. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joseph. But verbal abuse and stuff like that is technically discrimination. Would it be?
Sorry.
Like verbal abuse or bullying would be discrimination.
That's more harassment than discrimination. And I think harassment and vilification it's covered under discrimination laws, but it's separate to discrimination. So it's still illegal to be verbally harassed, but it's
It's also illegal to be physically harassed too.
Yes, it is.
Abused.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm just Googling disability harassment.
Sorry,
So, yes.
No, you're right, Jared.
So, it is unlawful to harass, victimize, or discriminate. So, yeah, you know what I mean. So, discrimination probably includes harassment.
I guess it would be discrimination if someone called me a dickhead and not everybody else. Like my able-bodied friends. Like if I was with an able-bodied group of friends and somebody verbally vilified me, that would be discriminatory because they weren't discriminating, they weren't calling everybody a derogatory term. They were only picking on me because of my disability.
Yeah.
That would possibly be discrimination.
Yes, it would be discriminatory if they were if you were singled out of everybody and it was because of your disability.
Yeah,
that's the difficult thing to prove, that it's because of your disability. That's the difficult thing to prove.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you felt like that's ever happened to you, Aaron.
I mean, like, yeah, sure. I mean, I've been called names like, retard and spastic and dumbass and stuff like that. And, when that was happening that mainly happened in my first 2 or 3 years of high school, but it stopped after that because just wasn't going to put up with it. I went to the school, and thankfully I was at a good school who dealt with it.
And so, was it a staff member or was it?
I was just a fellow student.
Because under law, it's only unlawful if it is a staff member who harasses. If it's a person, if it's another student, then it's not unlawful.
They're just being a bloody kid.
Yeah.
No, well, I do know of a teacher who got suspended because he called a student. This is when I was at school. He was in my class. The teacher, because he was just being himself, and he has level 1 autism, and he was just he was just being himself, as I said, and he was making sound effects, and which they call stimming, stimming, and the teacher turned around and called him idiot features, and that got the from what I was told anyway, that got the teacher in a fair bit of trouble, and from what I was told, he got suspended for it, which I think was fair enough.
Yeah. I think when it comes to harassment, education is also key. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. People, maybe not in that case, but you're right, Joseph. If people don't know what's wrong, sometimes they can just say or do whatever they think they know.
Sorry, I just have to just jumping into. Sorry, I have to to the listeners out there introduce Jared Sandal Hayes. He's me right hand man.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're right. No, I'm enjoying it. It's been really good. But yeah, everyone, this is Jared Sandal Hayes. He's my right hand man. He's a peer worker at Community Disability Alliance. He's a bit of a tech whiz as well. While you're here, Jared, why don't you tell everyone about yourself?
Thanks, Aaron. As you say, I've been working at SIGA. I work closely with Joseph on SIGA's new biggest project called Disco.
The Disco.
I do a lot of the communication stuff as well. Making sure this podcast goes near far.
What's a couple of your hobbies, Jared?
My hobbies, well, I enjoy football, watching football, not playing football.
Who's your team?
I enjoy North Melbourne in the AFL.
Oh, you're a Kangaroos man.
Yes, I am.
Mate, what are you thinking?
Well,
the Kangaroos. Well, at least you follow a team. I'm a neutral supporter.
It's been a while. I enjoy a good bourbon.
Oh, you don't mind a bit of a drink, eh?
No, and I'm also a bit of a tech head. Like the two of you, I don't know if you watch him, but I watch Linus Tech Tips on YouTube quite a bit. Have you heard of
Sorry?
Linus Tech Tips? Do you ever watch Linus? I'll have to send you the video of him when we get out of here. But yeah.
No, I don't.
I wouldn't say I'm your right-hand man. Ray is normally, but Ray is away today.
Oh, I think you're
And this is what happens when you put me in the room. I come in here and I take over the show.
It's all good. I think you're one of my. I think you're one of my right hand men, along with along with good old Ray.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to say this podcast has really been so happy about what you've been doing here. And the more and more this stuff gets out. And when you have people like Joseph that really know their craft, it really helps.
He's a man of great knowledge,
Nah.
Joseph. Yes. Oh,
No, I'm not. I'm just an average Joe trying to make ends meet. I'm just an average Joe trying to make ends meet.
Was it a joke?
same here. I'm just an average
Aaron.
Aaron.
Wait, you're just an AA.
Lastly, Joseph, and Jared, their checkout question. Again, our fun checkout question. What's something you really don't like?
I really don't like it when people say they're going to do something but don't deliver on it. And I don't like it when it's, tokenistic. Say it's just a tick the box thing as opposed to a genuine desire to do something.
Yeah, I know. I hear what you're saying. All talk and no walk.
What about you, Jared?
Well, on a less serious note, I hate the decaf coffee.
Love it.
But on a more serious note, I really hate seeing how long it takes for progress to happen.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
It seems like it's taking forever for us to get small steps going in the human rights for people with disabilities to take off. What do you hate, Aaron?
Hey, I'm just gonna add on to that, Jared. Like with you talking about the slow progress. I'm thinking with this yes referendum. Why are we only now the year's 2023, and we're looking to get an Indigenous person in government when there should have been a voice in Parliament decades ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're right. There are a couple of voices of Indigenous people in the Parliament on both sides, but you are correct. Why is it that 2023 are we only now discussing recognizing Indigenous people in the Constitution and the voice to Parliament? You're right, we are far behind.
Agreed. And I'm speaking of voice, I'm actually going to probably clock off soon because I'm going to go vote at the referendum today.
Good work.
I'll probably leave it till the 14th. But
I was going to live to the 14th, but I've got commitments on that day.
And I have already voted.
Yeah.
ah,
I have the postal vote.
Yeah. And it's frustrating.
you're all over it.
And it's frustrating with the voice because I've read the proposed constitutional change, and coming from a lawyer, I have no real concerns with what's being proposed. But I get so frustrated when people think that, the voice is going to replace the Governor General, the voice is going to replace this and do this and that. And I'm like, no, it's not. You're just going into the fear-mongering.
Yeah. I guess Aaron, this podcast will be out by the time we already have a result. So let's hope that it's a positive one.
Yeah, hopefully. Sorry, I'm just gonna. I'm really enjoying this conversation. But just back to that checkout question. My other serious answer to that is I really don't like bullying or racism. When I hear stories of it, it makes my blood boil. Yeah, I think bullying and racism are forms of evil. I think a less serious answer is
Waking up early.
Waking up early. Brussels sprouts and milk that's not light, skim or full cream. So, I mean, what have we got? Soy milk and almond milk. Just feral.
Yeah.
Absolute feral. Shouldn't exist. But that's all she wrote, everyone. Again, thank you very much, Joseph. You've been absolutely unreal.
Thanks. It's been a pleasure having you. It's been a pleasure being a part of your podcast.
Oh, it's been a pleasure having you be involved in the podcast. I've learnt quite a bit. Thanks to J-Man too.
No problem.
This podcast, you can find it on Spotify, YouTube, and Jared, what are the other? Where else can they find it?
Well, coming soon will be Apple Podcasts, and we'll have bits and pieces on Instagram every now and then.
Cool. So it's coming soon to Apple Music,
A few more.
and a few more, as well as as well as Instagram, and I'm thinking maybe Facebook.
Yeah, we'll work something up there.
But yeah, thank you guys for Jared and Joseph, and thank you thank you listeners for tuning in. I hope you have a great day, a great week. Take it easy, stay safe, stay out of trouble, be well.